ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Bill Chasing the Movies, and you're probably wondering if something looks different. Yes, I have a co-host with me, an aspiring filmmaker herself, Kaylee King. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
It's really great to have you here, and I figure who better than someone who knows more about the Oscars than I do? I'll be quite honest with you. You do know more than I do about the Oscars and its lineage and its history, and this is an Oscar special. It's called For Your Consideration. Now, where I got the idea for this was from, of course, the critics who I've looked up to for years, Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert, doing a special called Memo to the Academy, where if they were members of the Academy, they would voice what they feel shouldn't be left off the ballot. And so many people, year after year, as you know, get overlooked. How many times have we ranted to other people, or even to each other, of what's been overlooked in the past?
Yeah.
And it gets to the point where something needs to be said, and you see all these For Your Consideration advertisements in the magazines, the entertainment magazines as well, all through Hollywood. And we figured we should voice our opinion, who we think the Academy should consider. But let's get right to it. All right, I'm going to start off with supporting actress. One of the ones I figured got overlooked come award season was Leslie Mann in Funny People. Now here's someone who took a secondary character that they could have just thrown any big star in, and she really brought it to life with just her natural charm and her ease, I guess you could say, into a role. And that's what I've always liked about her in films such as Knocked Up with a 40-Year-Old Virgin, or if you want to date back a long time ago, at the beginning of her career, with films even like The Cable Guy, she took a secondary role and actually made it remotely interesting, and that's what I love about her. And I think she was fantastic in Funny People, really was, I guess you could say, the foundation where the story was, I guess you could say, built on. I mean, we didn't see her character, we saw her for one early scene in the movie, and then it just kind of dwindled off after that, and then also we see her towards pretty much the last quarter of the movie per se, and she just steals it completely from both Adam Sandler and Seth Rogen, and Eric Bana, I guess you want to throw him in. So, and then that's just it. She is wonderful. Now another one I feel was kind of, again, they could have thrown anybody. It could have been a secondary, Sofia Vassilieva from My Sister's Keeper. Now you said to me in a message a couple weeks ago that the movie made you cry like a baby.
Yeah, it really did, and it was all because of her. It really was, and she just brought so much realism into that role. And it could have been a really difficult role because she's playing a girl who is dying of cancer, and she sees how it affects her family. And she gave it such a vulnerability, but kept it in control. And she could have just gone totally off the wall with that and made it a huge cry fest. But instead, I cried because I felt her emotion and her struggle throughout that. Through dealing with it and through, having to see her family deal with it too. So she's on my list.
Is she on your list too?
Absolutely. Yeah, she stole that movie. That was all her completely.
No, it was absolutely.
Even beside an Academy Award nominee, Abigail Breslin, who was nominated for Little Miss Sunshine a few years ago. She didn't win, but even beside her, Sophia totally stole it.
Absolutely. No, she was wonderful in this film. And one more I have is Natalie Portman in Brothers. Now, here's a movie where you take three actors that have been on the fence for some people. You got Jake Gyllenhaal, Tobey Maguire, and Natalie Portman, and they get mixed reviews for all their movies.
Yeah, they're very hit and miss with their roles and with their performances, all three of them.
Exactly. Now, but in my opinion, in this film, they've all come out of their shell. And Maguire's getting recognition. I would expect him to get nominated, but again, it's Natalie Portman to me who is the glue that holds the movie together. She seemed to have this sort of, I guess you could say, it just had a natural realism to it that were between the two characters of her relationship with each of them, is that she is finding a way to distinct the two, and all of a sudden, as the movie goes on, obviously with her husband being presumed dead, her mind starts to venture another foundation where she's got to look at what's best for her kids too, but at the same time she's dealing with this in her own way. And it could have been dealt with an overwrought, I should say, Twilight-esque scene, but thankfully it wasn't. So I was glad for that. Now, did you see Brothers yet?
No, I didn't get a chance to. I really wanted to, but when I actually got down to it, it wasn't playing at the theater anymore. So now I have to wait till it comes out on DVD, but that's okay.
That's all right. Okay. What about you? What are your
well, my other two for supporting actress were Anna Kendrick and Vera Farmiga, both from Up in the Air. Now, I know that they have both been nominated for Golden Globes. Unfortunately, didn't win. But they were also nominated for Critics' Choice and some other random award.
I think they're up for Screen Actors Guild Awards too.
Yeah, they're both out for SAGs, and it was something else earlier in the season that Up in the Air won Best Picture for, but I can't remember what it was. There's so many, right?
Yeah, they were fantastic.
Yeah, Anna definitely owned this film. I'm going to be using that phrase a lot because there's so many actors on my list that totally stole it, but she was so awesome, and like next to huge players like George Clooney and Vera Farmiga, who's been moving up and up on her. I remember Vera from a made-for-TV movie back of like the early 2000s, the turn of the century, and I loved her in that, and I just kept seeing her. Small supporting role. She was in The Departed. I don't know if anybody remembers that.
I do remember
She was the
that.
Girlfriend, the psych person or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm so glad to finally see her kind of stepping out and actually being recognized for her role. She, like that role, I don't know who's seen it or not, but that role had such a big twist at the end. You didn't see it coming, and she just completely captured that character and made us fall in love with her.
Absolutely. And
then made us hate her.
Yes.
And she did that. It was all her. That was like her pure skill as an actor. And for Anna, it's the same thing. She's a Twilight actor, but she, showed promise there. She's also the second youngest, I think, that has ever been nominated for a Tony Award.
Yes.
On stage. And so you can see the potential that she has, and I'm so glad that she did this movie at this point in her career, because it will do wonders for her.
Absolutely.
And I honestly would love to see her win this.
Oh.
I was disappointed that she didn't win the Globe. I honestly was. No offense to Monique, I'm sure she was amazing in Precious.
She was, yes.
But I was really disappointed that Anna didn't win. I was really rooting for her, and I'm really rooting for her to win the Oscar as well, because she could have totally done a Twilight thing again and played it up and boo-hoo-hoo, like totally just ruined it, but she didn't. She kept it in control, and she stood up to George Clooney, and she matched him, even surpassed him.
Yes, absolutely. And George Clooney's not an easy actor to do that with.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the thing about Anna Kendrick the only differing opinion I have is that I didn't see the potential in her in the Twilight film. She was just in the background. I thought she was boring. I thought she didn't lend to the story at all. And I thought she had a good look to her.
But that's not necessarily her.
Okay, fair enough. I guess when you're not given enough material, you can't do too much with it.
It's like Star Wars, right? Like Natalie Portman has so much potential, but when you're given dialogue like in, The Phantom Menace.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But I agree. Like, she is not a forerunner in the Twilight films, but you can definitely see that she takes that character and makes it her own, and she did the same thing with Natalie in Up in the Air.
I was really taken aback by her performance.
Mm-hmm.